Hi, my name is Nicole Ringen. I am a fourth grade teacher at Terrace View Elementary, and this was my first year in the Induction program. Cycle 1 consisted of implementing stop and think slips. Through this, I learned they worked for some of my students but did not work for others. Overall, I discontinued this strategy as it was difficult to keep up with and students often forgot why they had originally received them. Cycle 2 was made up of a daily behavior chart that needed to be signed nightly by two of my students' parents. One student had the extra accountability at home, and his behavior in class improved. The other student rarely had a signature or took it home to be signed. This chart allowed for contact with parents that didn't involve a phone call home daily or weekly. Cycle 3 involved making connections through science and taking a field trip. My students were engaged in their learning and able to take their knowledge from in the classroom into the real world. Cycle 4 involved using manipulatives in math. It really allowed my students to see what it means to be an equivalent fraction and what equivalent fractions are using different denominators. Cycle 5 was truly my toughest cycle. It involved my students doing a lot of research about missions and having them create the 22nd mission. I'm excited to do this with my students next year, and I have realized a lot of things that I would change as far as my project-based learning goes. My future goals involve using more project-based learning in my classroom, maybe having 2 or 3 projects next year, diving deeper into the curriculum and developing that inside my classroom, and having my kids collaborate more often. I think it's really important that they talk to each other and learn from each other. The area that I grew the most in was understanding and organizing subject matter for student learning. This was evident through my project-based learning cycle. My students were able to be engaged in their learning, and I was able to figure out what worked for them, what needed to be done to make the content accessible for them. Seriously, if you haven't checked out any PBL yet, I would go to pblworks.org, find a lesson that is already created for you, and see what may work in your classroom. I guarantee you will be glad that you tried it out. Nicole Ringen has the knowledge, passion, and drive to guide and teach her students. She is determined to keep her students engaged and on task. She is always open to new ideas, and I am proud to be her coach. Sherwin Hunio. I hope you enjoyed my Induction Year 1 journey.